All right, welcome everybody. It's so nice to see all of your beautiful faces here tonight. Thank you for taking time out of your evening to jump on with us. I haven't hosted one of these in a long time for our team, so I thought this was the perfect time to do it because Lexus, as you know, has rolled out some really great incentives for the month of October, and so we want to make sure that we are working smarter, not harder, okay? And so what I want to focus on today is I'm going to start with talking to you guys about how to grow your business in 1 hour a day and kind of break that down for you guys. Uh-oh, Amanda cannot hear, but now I can't hear. Maybe leave and try to come back in. It'll probably ask you to approve your audio, connecting it. Try that again. And then if you guys wouldn't mind checking the chat and helping her out that way so I can keep going, that would be awesome. Okay, so we're gonna focus on how to grow your business in 1 hour a day. I'm gonna kind of break down what that should be looking like for you guys. And then we're gonna talk a little bit more in depth on the October promotions and how you should be attacking those. So if you don't already have a piece of paper and a pen handy, I would run and go grab one because what I'm going to tell you, you're probably going to want to take notes on just to kind of try something new, okay, and how we work our business. Or if you're new to our team, that's awesome as well. You can start off trying this method, okay? So go ahead and grab a pen and a piece of paper. And I want to just kind of put this out here because I think a lot of us in our minds think we are just so much busier than a lot of other people, okay? And the truth is, we all know this, we all have the same 24 hours in a day, right? And we all have different things that are kind of pulling our attention and pulling us to do, to pay attention to, okay? And sometimes we don't have a choice, okay, when it's involving kids' activities or an infant that is requiring your attention or a job that you have outside of Plexus. There's certain things that we cannot control. But you can usually find chunks of time each week that you're able to work. It just takes some, I guess, just self-control and self-regulation on your part and a commitment to yourself, to your team, and to your business. And it's tough. I'm not going to tell you guys that I'm great about working every single day, but I can always tell when I haven't been working the way that I should be working. So yes, Mindy, we'll get some notes up. I'm sure we'll have some people taking some great notes that they'd be happy to share. Okay, so with that being said, let's talk about what it might look like if you were going to work your business 1 hour a day, let's just say 5 days a week. You can change this to however many days you can make work, or you could even, if you needed to, split it into 30-minute increments and kind of, fit one chunk in the morning and the other chunk in the evening. But I'm going to break it down by amounts of minutes you should be spending on different activities within your business. I'm going to get really, really specific, okay? There are some things that you're going to need for this. You're going to need a timer. So a lot of you guys have that on your phone. That works well. You can use a little egg timer from the kitchen, you can use your computer, whatever it might be, but you need a timer, okay? You are also going to need a calendar, and you're also going to need a list of contacts, okay? So that's gonna be the stuff that's gonna be super important for you to have. When we don't have a list of contacts, we make it really, really tough to know where to focus or what we need to do or who we need to reach out to. And so if you've not refreshed this lately, you might want to be doing that. Actually, you need to do that. This is something that needs to be ever evolving and changing and updating, okay? And for the calendar, what I'm looking for you to do is to put all the non-negotiables on your calendar. And then from there, so like obviously if you have a child that has a practice and your spouse is at work or you're a single mom, whatever it might be, you kind of have to get that kid to practice unless you can find somebody else to carpool, whatever. But whatever your non-negotiables are, you guys know what those are, fill those in on your calendars and look for some gaps, okay? And I would honestly schedule in your work time. So again, if an hour at a time isn't going to work for you, chunk it out into 20 or 30-minute segments and shoot for 5 days a week. If you can do more, great. If you can't do 5, do what you can, because what you can fit in is going to be better than nothing, right? Okay, so let's start with step 1. This part of your daily work should be 5 minutes long. Okay, so step 1 is going to be 5 minutes long, and this is going to be a brain dump. I know Mel Robbins talks a lot about this, and this is something that it just makes me feel better. When I have all these things floating around my head of things that I need to handle, I feel like pressure, like I feel heavy, and I feel just unable to really, I kind of paralyzed, like I can't do anything because I've got so many things floating around. So a brain dump is the perfect way to start your hour. And this does not have to be plexus related. It can include things you're thinking about with your family, like, okay, I've got a meal plan for next week, or I've got to pack for this vacation, or I've got to, buy new soccer cleats, or whatever it might be. Brain dump. Take 5 minutes to just get it all out there. Don't think about it. Just write down anything that's coming to mind, just so that you're able to clear some space for you to actually be productive and to work, okay? We want to get our to-dos out of our head and onto paper. And then what I want you to do is, we talked about adding those non-negotiables to your calendar. I want you to look at some of the things that are on that brain dump that you think you have to do. If you're like me, you do everything better than everyone else, right? In your daily life, like you get the kids ready for school better than your spouse. If you're like me, I feel like I do everything better than everyone else in my daily life, okay? What I do here, managing my home. But the fact of the matter is, it's kind of suffocating sometimes because we manage a lot. So take a look at some things that you could delegate, and maybe just make note of that next to whatever those tasks might be. So I'm a way better grocery shopper than my husband. He basically shops for himself and forgets about the rest of us. Technically, I could delegate that and just kind of throw a few things his way on a list that he forgets. Or we talked about practices. If you're able to carpool, see what kinds of things you can delegate out to other people, just to free up some of your time. So just kind of take a look at that, and maybe there's nothing you can delegate, but maybe there is, and it might be able to lighten your load, okay? All right, let's move on to step 2. For step 2, I want you to take 10 minutes on this, and that is preparing content for social media posts. And you can prepare as many as you can within 10 minutes, okay? If you can only manage to get that day's prepared, that's fine. And social media content ideally is gonna look like a Plexus post a day, and then 1 or 2 other posts, non-Plexus related, okay? Throughout the day. And we really don't want to do more than 2 or 3 a day because of the way Facebook algorithms work. It can interfere with the content that's being viewed by our audience, okay? So we wanna make sure that we are sticking to that 2 to 3. And in your daily content that you are preparing, I want you to really consider making sure that everything you put out there does one of these things. It either is engaging your audience, you're asking a question, asking for advice, getting them involved somehow, entertaining them, so putting something funny, a funny conversation you had with your child, or something that happened during that day, or you found some sort of cartoon that really just made you laugh. Entertain, empower, so something that's maybe going to build them up and feel good, and just something really empowering, or educate. So ideally, we're doing one of those 4 E's, and we are providing value to our audience. So if we really sit down and we prepare these kinds of things, it makes them more effective. It makes what we put out there on social media better, okay? People want to follow us when we're doing that. And we really want to shoot for the idea of attraction marketing. You guys hear a lot about this. And that doesn't necessarily mean making your life look like perfection, okay? A lot of times that's what I kind of forget, that I don't need to just put the highlights out there. We got to be careful when we put things that aren't necessarily a highlight. Maybe we put something out there that's going to help people feel better about maybe their situation. So if you, I know I've put out there before when I've had a hard time with one of my kids, and just kind of putting it out there. And obviously not all roses, because you're seeing, these interactions I continue to have with one of my children. but other people might be able to better relate to you when you put that kind of stuff out there. So just really be mindful of that attraction marketing, either, you know, putting stuff out that, you know, people say, gosh, she's got it really together, or, you know, this thing she's doing with Plexus, gosh, that looks like fun, or whatever. Make it appealing, but it doesn't have to be all a highlight, if that makes sense. And then this is going to be a big challenge, and this is something that I need to work on too. I would love to see you guys doing one Facebook Live a week at minimum, okay? And the best way to do that is to not feel like you have to come up with a whole, you know, slew of content. What I like to do, I've got a stack of these sitting on my desk, but my gym sends out these Experience Life magazines, and they're all, you know, about health and wellness and happiness and all that kind of stuff. And so you can do this in the checkout line at the supermarket. Check out the headlines. So here's one: 5 self-care truths, why it's time to make yourself a priority. That could easily be turned into some sort of a Facebook Live that you do. Again, I'm never going to say Plexus in it, but I'm going to just share something that is going to provide some value to my audience. That's a great way to do it. Or if you want to tell a story of something that happened to you that day, whatever it might be, aim for one Facebook Live, as scary as they might be, every single week. And one thing that I also suggest in those is having some sort of a call to action in it, where you ask people to either comment on there, you know, like, has this ever happened to you, or whatever it might be, or, you know, shoot me a message if you have questions about self-care or want to know more about what I do, or anything like that. A call to action will just, people don't take action unless they're told to take action. So tell them to, and see what happens from there. And then the last part of this social media piece here is to check in on your team page. So, you know, whichever one is the most, I guess, beneficial to you. So a lot of you guys have really strong leaders that are underneath me, and their page is what you go to for all your info. Check in there. Or maybe my sponsor, Emily Finnell, Pink Freedom's team page is the one that you like to check in on. Or maybe it's, you know, the Diamond Domain team page. Whatever it might be, check in just so that you are not missing any information, not missing any promotions. I know mine's really busy, and so if you've turned off notifications, I do not blame you, but I would love for you to check in periodically so that you can look through and make sure you're not missing out on anything, okay? All right, step 3 is going to be 20 minutes long, and this is going to be conversations. I would love for you guys to have at least 5 new asks each day. Okay, and for some of you that have been around for a while, you're thinking, boy, I don't know about new right now, Jacqueline. Well, that's something that we'll be working on in another step. So every day you can kind of be working on this. But 5 new asks a day at minimum is going to be something that's going to help your business continue to thrive. This is also the time that you are going to be following up with people that have told you no, that have ignored you, that have fallen off the wagon, whatever it might be. This is that time to check in. This is also the time that you are sending out messages to just simply connect with people. So this might mean that, you know, one thing I've suggested is if you're really wanting to connect with certain people, instead of writing happy birthday on their wall, sending it in a message and, you know, adding a little something extra to it. Just because it's a way that maybe you could get a conversation going in Messenger, okay? Maybe you're going to ask for recommendations. You saw that their daughter just had a dance recital and the costumes look beautiful and looks like she's enjoying it. Where does she go? You know, can I ask you more questions about that? Ask for recommendations. People love to tell you what they know and share what they love. Chat about vacations, or where you got that cute dress for, you know, the bar mitzvah, whatever it might be. Chat with your people and just strike up conversations. Okay. All right, we are going to move on to the next one. Step 4 is going to be 10 minutes long. And in this 10 minutes, you are going to be networking. And so what I would like for you to be doing in this time is looking for new Facebook friends, making new friends, okay? Or Instagram, okay? So on Facebook, finding new Facebook groups that you feel connected to, maybe they're for local moms, or maybe it is for a crocheting group, or maybe it is, you know, moms of preschool, whatever it might be, finding some sort of a group where you can become a part of it, maybe find some people that have a similar life journey, phase, or interest, whatever it might be, and start working on some connections. There's some ways you can do that. Check out the posts, comment on posts that seem appropriate for you, or make posts on there, ask for recommendations, put something funny out there, whatever it might be. Just make sure. A lot of these groups have really strict rules. Some of them are so laughable. They're really strict, and I've been kicked out of groups, and not because I mentioned plexus. It's crazy. So check the rules and make sure you're following those, because you won't be making any friends if you get the boot. The other thing that you can be doing during this time is adding new Facebook friends. So looking for people that have mutual friends and friending them. I do this all the time. And it's a great way to add to your list of connections. So when you're, you know, I talked about having 5 new asks a day. Well, your list of people has to keep growing in order for you to be able to keep up with the 5 new asks a day. So continuing to grow that Facebook friends list. And on the opposite side of that, kind of whittling down your friends list, because you don't want to have too many, because that can affect the algorithms with Facebook. That can impact who's viewing what you put out there. So a lot of times what I'll do is, if I see that maybe there's somebody that has been with Plexus and I haven't noticed them post in a while, I'll check out their page and see if they're still working. And I'm like, oh, they're not. And I don't really even know them, because a lot of times we've made Facebook friends with a ton of people we've never even talked to. I try to work on removing like 3 to 5 every single day. So just kind of look for ways that you can kind of clean up your friends list too, because that can kind of keep spaces open for other people. And then with your Instagram connections, this is not going to be an Instagram training. This is still an area I'm working on. But one thing that you can do is search hashtags or locations. So maybe say you're about to go on a vacation, check for people that are posting in that certain location that you're going to be going to. And then you could probably start conversations with them like, hey, I see that you are from Atlanta. I'm headed there. And I just had some questions about some restaurants in this area. Do you have any to recommend? Or hashtags that might be appropriate for you, searching out some people, you know, that you might connect with. So those are some things that you can be doing in that 10 minutes. Okay, step 5 is for team building. And some of you don't have large teams right now, and that's okay. So you can allot this time elsewhere if you don't have a team. If you do have a team, you need to be checking in with them. So for those of you with larger teams, it is very handy to have a list of your level 1s, so the people that you personally sponsored. Having that handy along with your contacts list is nice, because then you can kind of see when you've been checking in with people. You know, have it something where you can make notes. Because if we don't, and I'm way too guilty of this, and I'm seeing how big of a need there is for this, whether they're ordering or not, whether they're building a business or not, a lot of time will pass and you don't even realize it, and you have not checked in. I'm way guilty of this, okay? So I would like for it to be our goal to be checking in with people and asking about their goals. Or simply, if they're not, you know, they don't have health goals, or maybe they've fallen off from the products they haven't ordered in a while, just checking in to say hi. I sent a bunch of these messages yesterday, and there was so much life stuff going on with so many people that I didn't know, that I felt really bad that I hadn't checked in, but then it was nice to catch up and just kind of see what had been going on in people's lives. So you want to make sure that you're doing that, because whether they're ordering or not, these are people that we care about, that we love, and we should be touching base with them, okay? And just kind of working to build a strong culture. So if that might be, you know, posting something on your team page, or sending out a message to all your silver ambassadors, whatever it might be, check in with your people, okay? All right, here's our last step, step 6. And this is going to be 5 minutes customer care. So checking in with your customers. So just like you had a list of your level ones, and let me back up to that list of level ones. If you have some people that are level 2s or 3s and their sponsors aren't active in the business, go ahead and just put them on your list of level ones so that you can check in on them, because they still deserve to be logged on and checked in with. So make sure that they're on your list. But customers, it's nice to have a list outside of your virtual office. Yes, you can get all this in your virtual office, but it's nice to have it somewhere where you can make notes. So maybe a list of like current customers, or customers from 2015, whatever it might be, because there could be reasons for different ones of these where you might want to reach out to them, okay? And again, I said simply 1 hour a day. If you need to break it up, you can. If for some reason you're just not able to fit that 1 hour, 5 days a week in, you can shorten some of this as needed. But this is just kind of a guideline on what your work should look like. And 1 hour is not bad. It will really fly by. Some tips for success with this: make sure that you use the restroom first, because that's going to throw you off your schedule and prolong your time. Make sure that you don't get down a rabbit hole on Facebook looking through a bunch of stuff, okay? Make sure you stick to your time. Grab yourself some water so that you don't have to get up to do any of that. Make sure that your kids are off, being babysat by their iPad or whatever for that hour, whatever you've got worked out. Make sure that you have that all just kind of planned out, okay? Success comes from consistency. And if you're anything like me, you might not have been very consistent lately. That's me. And so my goal is to be more consistent, because there's no way to continue to grow if we just kind of work here and there and not really have a plan of action, okay? So modify that as needed, but maybe just try it as I laid it out and see how that works for you. Okay, so now we're going to move into our October promotions and just kind of touch base on these very briefly. They're really self-explanatory. One of the things that the leaders of this company have been asking corporate for is very simple promotions, because a lot of times they're like in depth and we check out when it's too much. So these are very, very simple and straightforward, and I love it. And so with these things, these promotions are going to give you a reason to reach out to people, specifically people that maybe have never started building a business. Maybe they're just wholesale ambassadors, or people that have fallen off from the business, or even people that have never joined you before. Okay, specifically the Skip the Malls, Deck the Halls one is going to be something that's going to give you a reason to reach out to people. And I do even have, let me see if I can find it so I can just copy and paste it into the chat, a sample that you can message to people or use as your wording to voice message people. So let me drop this in here so you guys can copy it, and I will also put it on the team page so that we have it there. Let me put it in. So basically just saying, if you guys can't see that, hey, so I have no idea if this would interest you, but if you sign up 3 or more friends this month, you can get an additional bonus. It starts at $150 and it can go even beyond $1,000. I know a lot of people are silently struggling with different health issues, and these products could be the answer for them. If I sent you a little more info on earning the first bonus, would you be interested in looking it over? Okay, so again, this could be people that are your wholesalers, people that have stopped working the business. There's a lot of different people that have never worked it that you could send this to. And if you want to know a suggestion for what you would send as your follow-up, more information, I will add that here as well. It's just a Going Silver YouTube link that you can send. So you guys can copy that, but I will also get that added to the team page. So with this recording. So the Skip the Malls, Deck the Halls is very, very simple. It's all about the number of people you add. And like that message said, you can earn anywhere from $150 all the way up to $1,000. Keeping in mind that we have that $10 off $99 welcome packs. That's a great deal. Or there's also the $20 off the $199 welcome packs, okay? Those are amazing. Make sure you have the promo codes. It's on the team page in the post, pretty close to the top of the page, so you can search those out. But that's a great excuse to reach out to people or follow up with people. Now, remember, you are also going to be either earning the business building bonuses, or even, those $199 welcome backs are so amazing because those people give you points. So if you are someone that is looking to rank up or re-rank, which we'll talk about here in a minute, those $199 welcome packs can be amazing, okay? But here's the deal, you guys. Yes, $1,000 would be amazing for signing 12 people, right? But what is the point if we sign them up and they quit the next month? Yes, you earned $1,000. I guess that would be the point. But we are failing them by not kind of laying out for them what is in their best interest, okay? So people, we know that our products are not a quick fix, instant gratification type products. And so if our people are signing up and they're just doing it for 1 month and then they stop, or then they just go to the ProBio 5 and they stop taking everything else, we know how much they're missing out on. They don't know unless you tell them. And so really setting them up for success is going to be laying it out for them, like telling them, the way that the body works and the way that our cells turn over and the way that our body responds to being healed from the inside out, it really takes bare minimum 60 days, but really we've got to give our bodies 90 days to actually start to see some things happening. And so if they're not comfortable with giving themselves that opportunity, tell them that maybe this isn't for them right now. And maybe, if they're just looking for a probiotic, they'd be better off as a customer first, okay? So really try to pre-qualify these people. Again, the bonus is nice, but in the long run, we're here to serve others. And, I want your paychecks to be as great as they can be. And so if these people end up being under 100 PV people on your team, you're not getting paid anything on them. And I'd rather them be your customers where you're earning commission from them, if that makes sense. So really just trying to look out for you and make sure that you're building a solid business where you are earning, that good income. Okay, so let's move on to the next promotion. And this is the Rerank for More Bank. And oh my gosh, this impacts basically the whole team. So it's exciting. With this, I'm not going to go through the different amounts, but basically if you anywhere from silver to diamond, if wherever you were last month, if you were not at your highest rank that you've ever achieved last month in September, then when you have a chance anywhere from now, October through December, to re-hit that rank. But let's say that your highest rank is senior gold, and last month you weren't even gold. You have two opportunities, okay? You could go from silver, holding silver points, and you could get that bonus for re-ranking gold and re-ranking senior gold, okay? Or maybe you didn't get back to senior gold and you just re-ranked that gold. That's still awesome, okay? And the great thing about this is you have motivation even more so to work with your downline, because these bonuses roll up to the sponsor as well. So if you're looking at, you have a team full of silvers, level ones, they're re-ranking, that's $50 each person that re-ranks silver, which you have $10 and $20 off welcome packs. That's very doable, right? The sponsor getting it too is pretty amazing. Now, I want to make sure that you know that the sponsor does need to be qualified. So the sponsor would need to have 100 PV in order to earn that. And then same thing, obviously you can't re-rank if you're not qualified. You have to have that 100 PV. So make sure that you've got that. What do you need to do for this? Number one, you need to have a list of people to reach out to with this. You need to have a list. You need to be, if you work with a corporate coach and you have a large team, this is something you can ask them for, okay? Your team is not so big, it's going to be a lot easier for you to go into your virtual office and make a list of people and take a look at their highest achieved rank and the points they had last month. And just so that this is a list you can reach out to and you can specifically tell each person how much they could potentially earn, okay? So this is going to be important, and you're also going to want to ask your team to do the same. So as you're reaching out to people, if you have gold ambassadors, tell them like, hey, take a look at how many silvers you've got that have fallen back, and make sure you're reaching out to them too, because the amount I just told you could actually be greater if you are working with these people and helping them to re-rank. With each of these promotions, I highly encourage that you take a look at the links that have the FAQs, that have just kind of the nitty-gritty details, just so that you're clear on all of that kind of stuff. Rather than, because I'll open this up for questions here in a minute, but I'm not going to answer specifics on these because it all should be on there, unless you've checked there and the answer is not there, okay? Because I want you all being self-sufficient and finding those kinds of answers that you know are available. What else? What did I want to say? Oh, along those same lines, anytime you have a question, I really want you guys checking in on the team page for the answer or going to the help center that you can access through your virtual office. There's so much information there. Make sure you write that down in your notes. Help center, there's a ton of information. So I just want to make sure that you guys have seen that and have been able to kind of go through all of that. The other thing I wanted to bring up was, I know I've talked about this to most of you guys, but I realize there's a lot of people that don't know that there are units on our team page that have so much information. If you've not visited the units on the team page lately, do it. If, as you have new ambassadors, sometimes I know people feel a little just uneasy, like, what do I do with them? Like, oh, I assign somebody, but what do I do? There's so many resources there for them, for you to pass along to them. And I wouldn't just have a new person, I wouldn't just send them there. I would have you kind of go through that stuff and pick out what would be applicable for them and pass it along. Or even your people that have fallen back that are hoping to re-rank, check those units, because there might be things that are going to be valuable for them that are going to help them in their journey to achieving that re-rank, okay? All right, so that is all I've got for you guys. So I am actually going to stop the recording and then open it up for questions if you have any.